there are a lot of claims. They are saying that Airbnbs are killing traditional hotel industry in India. What is your take on this?
The way we host as Indians, we don't like any stranger to stay in our own house. Only few guests who have traveled abroad, who have stayed in Airbnbs, they knew what Airbnb is. However, there were a lot of guests who thought that Airbnb is a cheaper alternative to a hotel, and hence they used to book Airbnbs. And then when they used to come to Airbnb, they used to find that this is not hotel, but a house.
Competitor of Airbnb in India. So what is your take that they crack it right in the there is an apartment and they want to host it Airbnb. But when they are actually doing it, there is a lot of disagreement with the neighbors, society, the big community people, even in that matter, even independent housing. A lot of bashing being received, like how can you just let people do that is engineering. So is that a actual problem? Have you ever faced it? Faced it? How do you understand? How did you build the confidence for travelers to come to Airbnb? I'll explain you this one. Uh, Many families, let's just say someone from a father's generation, they always tend to go in the most traditional way. They have the confidence on certain brand. Let's just say Marriott has its brand. You know, you have a confidence on it. For suppose Taj, Lemon Tree, all these things. So a lot of people like when you suggest, let's just say from our generation, we suggest, okay, let's go, let's book a unique stay from Airbnb. A lot of people tend to feel like, okay, nahi yaar, ye pata nahi kaise hoga. You know, we don't know what service you get. So how did you solve that problem? Is it like still the young generation who go for the Airbnb, or is there a change and even the middle-aged and father's generations and all those people are still coming in?
Very interesting question. What trend we have observed is there are a lot of youngsters who book Airbnbs. When I say youngsters, doesn't mean college kids. People in their 30s,
Yes, yes.
they're first time Airbnb users. They're generally people who are open for experimentation, for looking at a different way of staying than traditional hotels, is the guest whom we host the most. Uh, I've seen many times the elderly couple or elderly family who stays with us are usually the guest where their kids have booked the apartment for them,
Yes.
right? So yes, as you rightly said, our parents or the previous generation would still prefer the traditional way of traveling because they have been doing it for
Long time.
long time, 20, 30, 40 years now. So it's difficult for someone to change that habit, and for what, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the new age traveler today experiments a lot, and as we say, uh, today even the guest or the customer, because of so many options around him or her, he's not very loyal to one way of uh, staying, would say, right? If he likes your Airbnb, he will stay with you for one time, two time, three times. That's it. But then again, he will explore a new
Even
way
that,
of travel.
yes.
So doesn't mean that your property was bad for him or her, right? He still leaves a 5-star review who has liked the entire experience. But today's traveler looks for different options,
Different unique experiences.
unique experiences, and hence he would look for a different options. Unlike the previous generation, where if they are comfortable at one place, they'll keep staying there forever,
Exactly.
right? So I think uh, that's a very fundamental shift that's happening over a period of time, and hence few things which convinces people to stay at our properties are the photos, the reviews, the guest recommendations. People
Yes, yes.
uh, people look for recommendation by other guests on how the property was. Sometimes it could be word of mouth. Someone said, this is a
This
unique
is
property
unique
there.
property.
Next time you go, stay there, and so on. And more than anything else, it's that personal bond that
Hmm.
happens with the guest and the host, between guest and host, because in most of the Airbnbs, the host meet their guest,
Yes,
which is very unique to Airbnbs
that personal touch has an impact.
impact. So I remember many a times my existing guest would ask me for recommendation of another Airbnb.
Okay.
Right? They say, then we are traveling to Goa or we are traveling to Ooty this time. Would you refer or would you recommend some Airbnbs
Let me
there?
guess, you refer to one of your other listing?
Not my listing, but then one of the hosts whom I
No.
know,
Okay.
and then I refer them that you can stay here. This is a beautiful listing where
Yes.
I've also lived in, and you would like it. So that doesn't happen in hotels. Hotels, it's a very business to business kind of a transaction.
Exactly.
I'm not saying it is uncomfortable. It is equally comfortable, but the way the experience are, built around hotels versus Airbnbs are very different.
Very different
Hence,
one.
based on the need of your traveler or the guest, they choose where to stay.
One more thing. Do you agree Airbnb is the disruptor for hospitality industry?
Yes, it disrupted hospitality as an industry, uh, but then it was the need of an hour,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And uh, there could be a lot of disruptors coming in because ultimately your customer is the king,
Yes.
right? So if you give options to customers, customers would want to try it
Mm.
uh, once or twice, but then if the experience is too good, then
Mm.
people continue doing it. So Airbnb has been lucky where they cracked the right code
Yes.
with what people like. But I know a lot of companies who are experimenting in this experiential stage and so on.
Mm.
And you never know what could be a new way of travel maybe 10 years from now.
Okay. Uh, we'll also talk about, a claimed competitor of Airbnb, Oyo, in India. So, what is your take? That did they crack it right? Even Oyo?
I don't think Oyo is a direct competitor to Airbnb. Uh, Reason being, I really admire uh, what Oyo has done, the way Oyo has disrupted the small hotel space,
Yes.
uh, and at this scale. But having said that, Air Oyos basically deal in hotels.
Yes.
Again, the standardization of uh, small hotels, right? A
Mm-hmm.
small hotel property, they standardize it with white bed sheets, those
Yeah.
red color of runners,
Yes.
those
Yes.
standardized towels, and so on. They standardize the property. So Oyo, which I stay in Gurgaon,
Mm.
is similar to Oyo, which I might stay in Bangalore,
Yes. Yes.
right? So it's a standard experience. So whereas Airbnb, as I said, they don't standardize. They give you
Unique.
as a host, as a property owner, they tell you that you do it as per your design,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's the uniqueness you have.
Uniqueness. So Airbnb, which I run,
Mm.
say in Whitefield area of Bangalore, and in the same locality, if there is another host who runs an Airbnb, the entire experience will be different,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because his decor is different, his furniture is different, my decor is different, my pricing is different. I might give breakfast, he or she might, the other host might not give breakfast. I might give a complimentary pick and drop from the airport, the other
Okay.
might not give. I might give a concert tickets
Tickets.
that's happening close to my property, they might not give, or the other way around. So all this experiential thing is left up to the host to do in Airbnbs. Whereas in Oyo, it's the rule book
Mm.
that you have to do this, so on.
Yeah.
So I don't find them a apple to apple comparison.
Mm.
But having said that, what
Just
they
in terms of numbers, lot of people and researchers have said that the rise of Oyo and Airbnb in India has been exponential since 2019.
true. So what? if you ask me, what I feel is Oyo succeeded because they standardized the hotels
Mm.
and helped increase the revenue of that hotelier,
Yes.
right? Because prior to that, as a traveler, I did not have a great experience staying in a 800, 900, 1500 rupees lodge,
Yes. Yes.
right? It was a very bad experience. Oyo standardized it, hence it scaled. So
Mm.
it solved a different problem. A- the the reason why Airbnb scaled is very different.
Mm.
They gave an option for a traveler to stay at a property which is not a hotel,
Exactly. Yes.
right? So hence, while incidentally the stories or the success stories of both the companies came together
Mm.
because both existed in that decade, but the problem that they solved or the reason for success is entirely different.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So one personal question: out of all your listing, what is that one listing which is like very close to you, like favorite one?
It is my first listing that I did,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which is not on Airbnb anymore because uh, that's a different story where I started that Airbnb in a residential gated society, which the society did not allow me to run. But
Mm-hmm.
because I was very naive, very new in the business, I started doing it. But that was the Airbnb which, was my first Airbnb, and I had spent a bomb on that.
Mm.
And that still remains a personal favorite to me.
First one is always special.
Yes.
Okay, about all the listings now, what is the most unique one you have personally worked on?
Every listing has its own USP, I would say.
Okay.
Right? It is not that one listing which stands very different to others. So one of the listing we have where we have a full-fledged kitchen, we have a living room, a dining, a smart TV, everything which is preferred by a lot of families
Yes, yes.
with infants coming and staying with us. Uh, Whereas one of a property where it's more of a studio kind of a setup,
Mm.
it's more preferred by bachelors or someone who is coming for a job interview or
Yes,
maybe
yes.
coming for a college reunion or coming for marriages and so on. So while we as host uh, put a lot and lots of effort in even the smallest detail of any Airbnb, hence if you ask me, every Airbnb is my personal favorite.
Okay.
Uh, and it shows in terms of occupancy as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it is not that this property performs better than this. It's the used case. Families prefer something else,
Mm.
whereas non-families prefer something else. College reunions or group of college kids, they prefer some different kind of property. So every property that way is unique in nature.
So before you start Airbnb, what are the legal requirements we supposedly to have? Is it entirely different one, or like usual hotel के लिए जो कुछ भी licenses and all that you need, or is it different?
Uh, if you ask me, because we do it at this scale,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we typically go for commercial properties,
Mm.
which are underlying asset is a hotel or a serviced apartment.
Mm-hmm.
License is something that you get. However, real estate as a whole is a very local subject
Yes, yes.
in terms of legality. So, a land law in Karnataka might be very different than certain laws in Mumbai,
Maharashtra.
Maharashtra for that matter. So, hence, it's very important for you to understand where does your property exist,
Mm.
and based on that, you can go to the nearest uh, government office. Here, it could be in Bangalore, it is BBMP. In different cities, those are different
Mm-hmm.
offices where you can understand first on what are the legal requirements of running a commercial operation out of your property. There are homestay licenses as well,
Oh.
right? Karnataka government gives you homestay license as well, but then it has certain criterias where the host should be staying in the same house, the number of rooms should not be more than 5 or 6,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, and so on. So every state will have their different rules and regulation. It's important for you to understand that and hence do it. It's even Airbnb, when you list the property, Airbnb takes a consent from you, or you basically tick mark one checkbox which says that uh, you know the local requirement, the local laws of your land,
Yes,
and
yes.
hence based on that you are doing this, right? But
Mm.
that is something I feel that is true for any business, right? Any business for that matter, when you start, you need to know the legalities around it.
Mm.
Whether you are starting a restaurant, right? Restaurant, I think, is the industry where everyone is fascinated by that industry. People love to start
Yes.
restaurants. Uh, so you need to understand what are the licenses, what are the food safety regulations, everything. Similar to that, when you do Airbnbs, or for that matter, any hospitality business, you need to understand what are the local laws, and then take it forward from there.
Okay, okay. Is it simple or really hassle?
It is simple. I think it is not impossible
Mm-hmm.
if you know what you are doing. See, a lot of people whom I meet, uh, many a times as a business owner, if you are confused on what you are doing or why you are doing what you are doing,
Mm-hmm.
then it's difficult. Like a lot
Yeah.
of people say, no, this is not a business for me.
Yeah.
This is a passive income. Right
Then.
now, in the regulatory framework,
Mm.
you don't fall anywhere,
Yes.
right? So you can't be defining your business at your convenience. Then it
Mm.
becomes a problem. If you are doing this to earn money,
Mm.
you are taking money from someone, while it's passion for you, but still it's a business, it's a commerce,
Yes, yes.
it's a commercial activity, right?
Yeah.
Howsoever you say that this is not a business for me,
Mm.
but then regulatory wise, it's still a business,
It's still a business, yes.
right? So once as a business owner you understand this, I think then it's easy.
Then it's easy. There are a lot of problems you usually face when you're running a Airbnb. There are a lot of problem with guests, damaging your property, or just spoiling things, or some kind of ruckus, some other thing. How do you deal with it? Do you charge the guest who come, or it goes into your own pocket? What are the
uh,
damages? I mean.
no, I'll tell you, there's a lot of misconception around guest damaging your property.
Hmm.
In my career of hosting, I think more than 10,000 guests till now.
Hmm.
Uh, I think less. I think less than 0.1% guest might have spoiled something in my house
Okay.
or in my Airbnbs, and this is not very unique to my properties. Even when you speak to any hotelier
Hmm.
who runs a hotel, I think the numbers would be around the same. No one breaks anything intentionally. I mean, there are times where in restaurant you break a plate or a glass
Yeah.
of water, and so on. But that's accidental, which is nothing but your cost of doing business, right? I don't remember uh, in any good restaurant you go, if you break their plate,
Hmm.
they'll come and charge you for it. And if they do it, your experience is spoiled,
Yes, yes.
right? Same things happens at Airbnb as well. Accidentally someone breaks something, 90% of the time the guest will tell us, because now there is a, a personal interaction happening with the guest,
Yes, yes.
right? So they say, yaar ye galti se toot gaya, then you charge me for this.
Mm-hmm.
But there could be a possibility where the guest also don't know that he has damaged something,
Mm.
right? And then, as I said, it's a cost of doing business. You can't be confronting your guest that you have done it.
Yes, yes.
For major damages, there is an interesting thing in Airbnb called air cover, which is something like a insurance which Airbnb gives you.
So
So,
you are sorted in that side.
so yes, if it's a genuine concern, and you put it across Airbnb and raise that option then Airbnb reimburses you after, of course, after speaking with guest and you that what happened, and they do it. So I don't think that's a very major issue, but it's been very overrated
Yeah.
that people damage your properties and so on. No one books a property to come and damage your property.
Yeah, my next question was about to ask, what was your worst experience with hosting someone?
Not worst, I would say, but one incident which always I remember is one of the guests had booked our Airbnb,
Mm.
uh, and they had come here for one of the exhibitions, which
Okay.
they were participating in that exhibition. And before booking, they told us that there is an exhibition happening in Whitefield, and we are coming to attend that. We said, fine, okay, please come. They booked the property, and long story short, they had a food stall there in that exhibition the other day,
Okay.
and they wanted to cook all the raw material, all the ingredients
Oh
the
God.
early day, and they converted the entire apartment into a
The
kitchen,
kitchen.
a commercial kitchen,
Oh God.
and started cooking, and which we were not aware of.
Mm.
But then soon our security guys said that there is a truck which has come with all those big
Oh God.
utensils, cylinders, and all, and there's a lot of smoke coming out of the house. And then when we saw, I mean, there was no fire or any danger as such, but they were cooking maybe biryani for 1,000 people,
Oh boy.
right? And then we asked them to leave the house because that's not what the houses are meant for, commercial
Exactly.
cooking. And that required us to repaint the house, and a lot of things had to be done because they have moved all the furniture aside to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
the cooking and so on. So that's something which was the incident which I always remember. Apart from this, minor things here and there happen. Someone's kid broke the television
Mm.
while with his maybe a bat or something.
Mm.
But then the guest was kind enough to tell us that my kid has done and you can charge me for it, and so on. I don't think there's anything
Worse than.
worst, touch wood, that has happened
Okay.
at any of our Airbnbs.
Okay. So we have done a lot of research before this episode,
Mm-hmm.
and there are two questions we want to touch. One such question is like lot of I have read a lot of articles and lot of hosts has been telling this is they are facing lot of problems with their neighbors.
Mm.
Let's just say there is an apartment and they want to host it through Airbnb, but when they are actually doing it, there is a lot of disagreement with the neighbors, maybe the society, the gated community people, even in that matter, even independent houses too. So a lot of backlash is being received, like, how can you just let people in the residential area? So is it a actual problem? Have you ever faced it? If you have faced it, how did you address it?
That's what I said. If the entrepreneur
Hmm.
or a owner doesn't know what he's doing, he'll
Mm-hmm.
come across all these problems.
Okay.
Even if you ask me, I might not be comfortable
Mm-hmm.
to host a guest in my own house.
Mm-hmm.
That's how our Indian mindset is.
Yes, yes.
Even if I am comfortable, maybe my parents might not be comfortable, right? So hence, me being a business owner and
Mm.
having run Airbnbs for 10 years, I know what kind of guest I can host. So I might be comfortable, but my parents might not be very comfortable with the idea of having an unknown person staying in one of the bedrooms,
Okay.
right? Now, if that is the case with most of us, how do you expect that when you buy or when you run an Airbnb next to someone else's house, he will be comfortable doing it?
Yes, yes.
That's the fundamental question. And if that's a question, the answer is simple: don't do it,
Mm.
right? When I'm staying in my house and someone is hosting unknown guest just next to my house,
Mm.
I might not be comfortable.
Okay. Okay.
It could be for various reasons. I don't know. I understand uh, that the guests are verified, everything is fine, but still I'm not comfortable because that's the way we, let me call it as Indian audience or Indian house owners,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
That anonymity just bugs us a
bugs
lot.
us, right? Hence, I may not be comfortable.
Hmm.
Hence, don't do it. There will be a backlash,
Exactly.
right? So it's as simple as you starting a restaurant in your own house.
Hmm.
Let's
Exactly.
take it this way. In your living room, you start serving food to people.
Yeah.
How odd it would look.
But right now we have cloud kitchens at home.
That's a different story. You are
Yeah.
not calling people unknown people inside,
Yes. Yes.
right? So when you have a lot of activities of unknown people coming in
Hmm.
and going out, that's where the problem starts.
Yes. Exactly.
Hence, when such problems come to me from other hosts, they tell me that this is happening. Easiest thing that I tell them is stop doing it. Don't trouble your neighbors.
Hmm.
That's the fundamental thing for any business owner to understand.
Don't trouble others.
You earn the money that you want to,
Hmm.
but not at the cost of creating nuisance or uh, security threat, a
Hmm.
perceived security threat to your neighbor,
Hmm.
right? Face that? Yes, I faced it.
Oh.
The first Airbnb which I told, which is very
Yes.
close to
Yes.
my heart, we had to close it because the neighbors were not comfortable. Because I was new, I
Hmm.
took a loss and I closed it. Because businesses can't be scaled by fighting with your neighbors,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
right? You need the entire ecosystem to support you for you to become big.
Exactly.
You can't be fighting at one place and doing a good business at one. So the yes, you face backlash when with from your neighbors if you don't do things right. But it is not only to Airbnb as a business. This stands
Hmm.
true for any business. You start a cab taxi business and you park your vehicles
At some
in
other's place.
others' place or on the road outside the other's property,
Hmm.
still there will be a backlash.
Amazing. There is lot of security concerns coming to stays in India. Women don't book Airbnb stays if they are staying single. Is it still the case from many years going on? Like there are a lot of people who have shared on internet. They had very concerning issues coming to security, especially women. Is this still prevailing, or do you think it will be solved soon?
Majority of our travelers are solo female travelers who stay at my
Hmm.
Airbnbs. I'll tell you uh, there is a fundamental way to address this,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not a Airbnb problem.
Yeah.
Women might not find it safe to travel with cabs
Mm.
late at night,
Yes.
right? So this problem is not a Airbnb problem or this is not a cab problem.
Mm.
This is a problem of our society as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where uh, for cert because of certain bad elements in the society,
Mm.
the entire business model gets questioned.
Exactly. Yes.
At least in Airbnb,
Mm.
the guests know who the owner is,
Yes.
right? He knows or she knows because she or he has interacted with the host multiple times. There's always a certain level of trust that has been already established,
Yes.
right? So these problems can be solved over a period of time, not by the businesses alone, but as a society as a whole, where you know you don't instead of making such incident as big news,
Mm-hmm.
the problem should be solved,
Exactly.
right?
The reason why I have asked is like when we were researching, there are not many incidents coming to Airbnb, but the one which happened, there are very few over a past 8 to 10 years. Very few, maybe three or four, but they made it into the headlines way too much
True.
just because it was a very new model which was entering India and growing at that period of time. It became like a black mark, I must say, especially for a lot of segment of women. Whenever they say like, no, yeah, I'm not gonna book an Airbnb. I wanna go to hotel. थोड़ा security का वो tension होता है मेरे को. ऐसे they keep saying it, but I feel like it is being addressed. Same time, how we have said it. The same time, there are a lot of women still thinking that okay, this might never go away.
Yeah.
But how do you think, from being a business owner perspective, how do you think you would be ever be free out of this?
That's a sad reality on how uh, you know our society functions.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of solving a root cause
Yeah,
problem, they glorify
glorify it a lot.
a lot. Yes, as you rightly said, there were few instances in few of the Airbnbs abroad
Yeah,
where,
exactly. Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you. Exactly. They see a lot of incidents in abroad and also few documentary movies and all this. And they get that conception ki, okay, I don't want to go for Airbnb. Then, if you go to Netflix and you search for few movies, there are a lot of documentaries coming to incidents happening on Airbnb.
true, very true. So that's what I say. I don't know how, you know, how or why such things are highlighted
Mm.
to glorify. But then, of course, we as host, no one wants to have this incident happen at their property. And again, I'm saying this is not specific to Airbnb.
Any property.
Any hotelier
Mm.
or any business owner for that matter, a restaurant owner would never want any customer to get diarrhea by eating his food.
Yes, yes.
Or a cab driver or a cab company would never want some bad incident to happen. Right? So there are a lot of security checks that happen
Mm.
around it. So basic security checks could be, hiring right people,
Exactly.
having property uh, in a good locality,
Mm.
right? A well lit locality where you have good roads, good infrastructure. Third, very important thing which takes a lot of time is about building up those reviews online.
Mm.
When a person have good experience, we request them to post it on Airbnb.
Yes.
So by reading their reviews, people get confidence to book.
Exactly.
When people have bad experience, we don't have to tell them to write anything. They anyways write it.
Yeah.
Right? So when there is a good experience, I encourage people to write it. Even female travelers, female relatives, I tell them if you have a good experience,
Mm.
even within my family, I tell them if you have good experience, write it publicly.
Yes.
Because that's a fundamental thing which will help other women, men build confidence based on their reviews.
Exactly.
It is going to take time, but
Mm-hmm.
eventually it should happen.
All right, sir. I guess we have covered most of the topics for today. So, on a finishing note, I want you to give a tip for our viewers. Whoever a youngster who wants to get into this, what would be the most important tip you want to say?
Okay, for someone
Who
who wants
wants?
to start Airbnb,
Yes.
uh, the easiest thing for you to do is start your Airbnb in your own house first,
Mm-hmm.
where you are staying. Host some guest, maybe 5-10 guests over 2-3 months of time. It will help you understand the operational efforts required to earn that extra money over a rental.
Okay.
Once you are comfortable doing it, once you understand that this is something which I'm comfortable speaking with so many people, solving their small issues, getting the laundry done on behalf of guest, uh, showing smiling faces always, and
Okay.
so on. Once you are okay with it, I think that's the time where you can start looking out for properties to convert that into Airbnbs, I would say. But just because the business looks lucrative from the outside, don't invest into properties without knowing anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as Airbnb host, you are not formally trained in hotel management,
Yes.
right? Uh, so there are lots and lots of things in business which you don't know, which even I didn't know because I'm not a hotel management graduate.
Yes. Yes.
So hence it might look very lucrative from outside, but the challenges might be something which you are not comfortable addressing. So hence do it in your own house. Maybe if not even Airbnb, you can list your property on couch surfing, which is again a
Yeah.
free platform for people to book properties. Host few guests, see how comfortable you are meeting people, because it demands lots and lots of time, efforts in maintaining the properties or hosting the guest. If you are comfortable, take a property and start doing
Okay.
Airbnbs.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh, where do you think the trend will be down the line 5 years?
There will be new ways of uh, new ways people would travel.
Mm-hmm.
Just But then, having said that, everything will coexist. Because Airbnb came, the hotel industry did not collapse. The
Mm-hmm.
hotels still perform excellent, right? Similarly, Airbnb will stay, homestays will stay. But then, maybe, as I said, 5, 10 years down the line, we don't know what new things will come. So always
Mm-hmm.
be prepared for a disruption in this industry, whether you like it or not.
Do you think Airbnb will still be relatable then?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't find any problem in this model.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, it will stay. So, again, I compare this American giants with other American counterparts, other companies which came to India. It could be Uber or
Mm-hmm.
companies of this nature. Everyone are doing good,
Yes.
right? While the model is disrupting, but then they still do their business,
Yes.
right? So there will always be a customer for you.
Okay. One honest opinion on should you rent or should you buy a property? This is like a ongoing conversation from years.
I stay in a rented house, so I
Okay.
would always be telling people to rent,
Even if
but
you can afford.
buy a property
Hmm.
to have that tick mark that you own a property,
Hmm.
but don't restrict yourself to staying in your own property,
Okay.
right? So even if you have your own property, if you don't stay in that, you rent the property at as per your convenience.
Hmm.
I think that's a better combination rather than owning a property and staying in it.
Okay. Okay. What is that one pearl of wisdom you want to give to all the youngsters watching this?
I don't do anything to prove anything to anyone.
Okay.
Do it if you like it, because at the end, no one gives a damn about what you do.
Okay.
If you love what you do, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you just have to love it, what you do.
that's it.
All right, sir. Let's wind up this episode. It's been lovely having a conversation with you. And thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you very much. Thanks
Yes.
for hosting me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, guys. We'll come up with new exciting topics and, even more exciting personalities. I hope we can't top Mr. Udayan Deshpande, but we'll try it. Okay. Thank you.